What's going on there, guys? Good evening. It's the Earthmaster here on this Sunday, end of the weekend, October 30th, 2022. It's about 7:40 p.m. California time. And latest activity there on the Earthquake 3D globe shows a 2.1 into the region of Southern California. Latest quake there on the map. Let's go ahead and check out the activity there that's popping up. 2.1. Kind of out there in the middle of nowhere. Desert area of Southern California. This area did see a 1.7 earthquake earlier this morning time frame, it looks like, and now a 2.1, roughly at about the same depth as the earthquake there that we're just seeing within the last hour. It is situated, it looks like, off of a little fault system called the Helendale South Lockhart fault zone. Not a whole lot of activity out there recently, but it appears that something's kind of brewing out there tonight. And, well, actually over the last 24 hours or so, specifically in this area. Not a whole lot of activity around the southern branch of the San Andreas Fault. It actually looks pretty quiet right now. Did have one earthquake pop up just now. This earthquake coming in within the last few minutes, a 0.5. Just off the San Jacinto fault zone. Little spotty activity throughout Southern California today. Into the Long Valley supervolcano, some movement. It looks like today, nothing major though. A little spotty activity kicking up here within the last hour around the, looks like the Antelope Valley area up here in Northern California, just south of Lake Tahoe, and some movement outside of the Tonopah area, all coming in within the last hour. Around the Bay Area, most of this activity here looks like it is from earlier this afternoon. Last one there was, looks like about 2:30 today, 1.1 near Pleasanton. A little bit of activity kicking up and a little swarm out there in the mountains. So far, largest in the sequence, it looks like a 2.1. Into Northern California, a little spotty. Well, of course, we got our Clear Lake volcanic field. That's always seems to be like that there with the geyser activity. Calpine hydrothermal operations ongoing there today, it looks like. All right, Northern California up here around Mount Lassen. Got a 2.2 and a 2.1, about 5.6 kilometers deep for each earthquake. Mount Lassen sits up here by, looks like about maybe 6 miles or so from this earthquake. One earthquake up here outside of Redding. 1.7 at 4.5 kilometers. And it looks like a little earthquake activity here around the Petrolia area. That one coming in last night, though. Just about ready to drop off the threshold there of the 24-hour period. So definitely a noticeable increase in activity across the west coast right now. Lighting up like a, I don't know. Anybody got orange and red Christmas tree lights? Who knows? But definitely lighting up out there along the west coast region. One earthquake up here into the subduction zone of the Cascadia. A 30-kilometer deep 2.1. That one coming in early this morning, about 8 o'clock. No further activity to note there. Let's go ahead and check out the tremor map while we're on the topic of the Cascadia. We'll get back to Yellowstone here in just a second. Maybe. Let's see. Are we... What's going on? Is it me? Or is it just the PNSN network? Looks like just the PNSN. Let's try that again. Oh, there we go. That was a little on the odd side. Looks like about 147 epicenters of tremor. Most of it, again, right around the Seattle area. Now, this is down dip from this earthquake that we've seen this morning. Notice that this 2.1 is down there at about 30 kilometers deep, just outside of Seattle here along the coastline, upstream closer to the Cascadia subduction zone. And this activity more inland and more, on this map, it would be more towards the right, more inland, down dip of the Cascadia, about 35, 45 kilometers or so down there for that tremor, which is, again, mostly confined there to the Washington region. Looks like the southern end of the Cascadia and the Northern California is starting to show a little bit of activity as well. At the very extreme end, of the Cascadia, and that could explain some of the activity we're seeing up here outside of the Redding area. Alaska, not a whole lot going on. Microquake activity, no major swarms to take note of. A little bit of movement outside of Anchorage here in a little fashion here. It looks like a 3.6, the largest in this little cluster there in Alaska. Pacific Plate, very quiet across the region. Until we head over here, check out this trail of earthquake activity. Remember, what was that, yesterday? Yeah, I think it was yesterday. Some of this activity is still old, but we were watching this trail of activity across the Indonesia region, Papua New Guinea. Well, obviously, that's definitely worked its way further west. That's a good sign that pressure is definitely kind of moving there. That could limit any major large earthquake activity specifically within this region, but not 100% certain if that's going to be the case, because still we really haven't seen too much in terms of larger earthquake activity up here around the Kuril-Kamchatka, Japan Trench, and the Mariana Trench area. Still think it's possible to see some further activity, but we'll watch that. But either way, movement definitely headed westward. And a lot of times when this happens, we just follow the dots, follow the pressure transfer. And in this case, we're missing a couple areas here in between Greece and the Pakistan area. That would put Turkey, Iran, Iraq. I've been corrected on that numerous times. I got to make sure I pronounce that correctly. Under the gun, possibly around Saudi Arabia as well. Just looking at a little bit of seismic gap here currently within that range. And by the way, those are, let's see what we got for magnitudes. Mostly all fours. We did have a 5.2 in the Indonesia area, but mostly all upper fours across that area. South America has been relatively quiet. Only a couple earthquakes there right now. 4.6. Last one here was about 4 o'clock this afternoon time frame. Around the Caribbean plate, things kind of kicking up just a little bit here outside of Puerto Rico. Getting a little close up there around the Puerto Rico Trench. A few threes in that area. And also off the coast of the Guatemala area, seeing some movement as well. Although looks like most of this activity from early this morning, about 11 o'clock time frame for that area. Well, that was a little weird. It almost sounded like a werewolf. Is it Halloween? Actually, believe it or not, that is my dog. Just started howling around Halloween. That's a little on the eerie side. I've really never heard him do that. All right, hopefully you guys, I'm sure you guys probably heard that. A little bit of movement outside of the Elgin, South Carolina area. Haven't really seen too much activity there recently at all. 2.5 at 0 kilometers deep. This area sees some swarms on occasion, but I'd say over the past 2 months it's been super duper quiet. So it looks like maybe things starting to kick back up there just a little bit around the South Carolina region. This comes after some activity there in Georgia earlier this morning, about 12:30 a.m. Last night there, 2.3. So got to watch that. Maybe a swarm incoming there for the South Carolina region. Across Oklahoma, most of the activity here around the Katy, Oklahoma area. Last one was about 5 o'clock, a 1.7 in this cluster of earthquakes. Outside of the Arbuckle Mountains, there's some fault systems that do run through here. So I believe those are associated with plate tectonics faults there. Let's see what else we got. The Big Island lighting up. Look at that. We just kind of lighten up along the west coast and out here in the Pacific. Looks like Kilauea Volcano up here. Got a 2.1 near Volcano. And some other activity around Pahala. Nothing going on around Mauna Loa currently, but still keep an eye on that pretty closely for that volcano. Let's see, what else do we have? Let's go ahead and check out. I can't believe my dog did that. That's so funny. Sounded like a werewolf was outside my window the first time. And then the second time when he did it, I was like, oh, okay, that's my dog. Howling at the moon, I guess. Maybe got some wolf in him. Earthquake activity at Yellowstone kind of kicking up right now over the last couple hours there. You can see these spikes on the map. Quite a few earthquakes here just this evening time period. Also a couple scattered one throughout the afternoon time period. Nothing, though, showing up on the USGS map. They normally don't put anything on here unless it's above 2.5 for the preliminary earthquake data system there. But obviously, it's kicking up, looking pretty active here at Yellowstone. Nothing major. Again, those are all definitely below the 2.5 threshold, but still kind of getting a little active there. All right, let's see what else we got. Solar weather activity. And, well, I'm trying to see a face on here, but I'm not really seeing anything. Maybe looks like maybe two eyes there, but they were missing the mouth. Doesn't look anything like it did a couple days ago. I was hoping for a little creepy image here. I don't see anything unless somebody else does, but I can't really make out any type of face or creature or anything here on the sun. Either way, these are coronal holes, the darker color regions of the sun. Got one turning towards us here pretty soon. Going to be hitting us with some high wind stream, solar wind stream at us. Probably here in a couple days. I know we're still kind of unstable in terms of the current geomagnetic unrest. Looks like that could be, at least could remain here over the next couple days. A little unsettled conditions. Aurora probability looks somewhat amplified right now with the KP index up there around 3 or 4. And looks like higher latitude folks there may have a chance of seeing some auroras. Well, there we go. This guy, whoever owns this solarham.net site, made his own image here. Let's see what it says. Here is a frightening new look at the Earth-gazing side of the sun as we head into Halloween. Wait a minute. I don't really see that. Oh, I see what happened there. All right, let's see what they say. Currently, solar activity is at low levels with only slightly spooky C flares detected. Looks like an isolated moderate M flare will remain a slim possibility, with a ghoulish AR 3135 being the most likely source. The high-speed solar wind stream continues to scurry past our planet near 500 km. Aurora will likely be lurking at locations around the polar zones during the next 24 hours. All right, that's kind of not bad. Definitely not going to make it out of that, though, so kind of just had to draw your own out there. But either way, 3135 going to be the sunspot right here. And that is definitely the most likely one. I think I noted that this morning, starting to get a little bit of some closeness here of the polarity of the fields, indicating possibly getting more complex there. That will be producing some flaring here soon. This one over here, not so much. But keep an eye on 3135 there for some potential solar flare activity. Let's see what else. I think that's about it, folks. Halloween is definitely tomorrow. And yeah, it's supposed to be not too bad here in California. It's supposed to be cooler. Really no chances of rain until I think about Tuesday or so. Things are just kind of getting back into the fall pattern, so to speak. Looks like in the Pacific Northwest, we're going to get some rain. Northern California definitely get some rain and some snow. It's a very cold system, so us here in the valley, unfortunately, we kind of get rain shadowed a lot from the mountains on the west. The coastal range squeezes out all the moisture and then picks back up again over the east, over the Sierra Nevada. Sacramento Valley is similar to the Death Valley area in terms of that type of draining of the precipitation, so to speak, over the mountains. But see what we got for the rest of the country here. Looks like should be clear in certain areas, except for the Pacific Northwest and the maybe a few storms out east, but a good swath of the country here should have some clear conditions for Halloween. And I'm just hoping and praying for some big time rain out here. And it doesn't look likely. In fact, this here's a lot of cold air over Pacific Northwest here. It looks like into the second week of November, which is fine with me, but I'd rather see some big storms coming in. And I'm not seeing it. I'm just seeing some very light, weak storms hitting the west coast, unfortunately. But that is all subject to change, right? These models aren't 100% set in stone. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Have a good night. Stay safe out there. I'm going to go check on my wolf, see how he's doing, howling at the moon. Hopefully you guys heard that. Let me know if you heard it. I heard it pretty clear as day, and actually kind of scared me for a second. Have a good night, folks. We'll catch you guys a little bit later on. Peace out.